So guys, this northerner who is a PhD holder and also a lawyer has come under fire for saying Nigerians who are pushing false genocide claim are to be held responsible over the visa restriction that has been in place by the United States. See how he tweeted it. He said, we want those pushing the false genocide claim that whatever action the US took wouldn't spare any of us. They didn't listen. Then Trump's travel restriction said, hold my beer. This person is blaming Christians for crying out that the cry of Christians is to be blamed for the visa restriction, the visa ban that has been put in place recently by the United States. This same PhD holder, this same lawyer, in 2020 tweeted, and here's what he tweeted. He said, gunmen stormed a wedding party in Kukundaji of Kaura local government in Kaduna on Sunday, killing 18 people, wounding 30. Systemic attacks on Christians in southern Kaduna has recently become frequent. I suspect the Ansaru, a splinter of Boko Haram loyal to Al-Qaeda, might be responsible. He tweeted about Christian genocide in 2020, and today he is calling it false genocide claim. What has then changed? So guys, what the APC cannot do does not exist. All these people, their voices are being bought over, you know, as regards to what Christians are going through. The northerners don't want to come out to say it the way it is what Christians are going through. Now, let me take you through some of the reactions by Nigerians. You know, let me show you how Nigerians are reacting to this. Like this person said, the whole "we want those pushing the genocide agenda that the US will not spare anyone" narrative feels like pure gaslighting. The people who have died in these horrific attacks likely never had the means to apply for a visa, let alone travel to the United States. Those truly affected by Trump's so-called ban are the elites and those sympathizing with terrorists while calling for negotiation. I have never seen people cry this loudly over a ban. If banning Nigeria from every country will stop the killing of innocent lives, so be it. This person went ahead to say, this government is not focused on redeeming the image it single-handedly destroyed. Instead, it is crying over a travel ban. You know, the Tinubu's government is crying over a travel ban that many Nigerians don't even have the opportunity to go to travel outside. Why are they now focusing on that? And this other person here say, calling the genocide that has been going on in the country a false claim is highly insensitive. Instead of you guys putting more pressure on the government to go all out to stop this evil and arrest their sponsors, you are here saying trash. This other person also reacted saying, this is fake genocide. How are you doing this? Why? It is not the first time that the US is issuing this. For goodness sake, I don't have any intention to go to the US or any place outside Nigeria permanently. So what's my own? Let's build our nation. Let's build Nigeria. Not to be lamenting over visa ban. And this was Nigeria will be a better country without the North. Your Islamic jihadist brothers are kidnapping, raping, and killing Christians everywhere. But you are saying it's false. The innocent, the blood of the innocent children and women will haunt you to the grave. This person reacted and said, every day we see more evidence that having a PhD has no correlation with having sense. These are the same dumb Nigerians and terrorist sympathizers who turn our key terrorists into our invade Nigeria. They somehow believe being able to travel to America is more important than being able to live your life in Nigeria without some deranged jihadist looking to kill you in defense of his religion. These emergency lovers of Nigeria and closest terrorists have nothing against the jihad killing Christians since 1980. He went ahead to say, they have nothing to say about the complicity and the incompetence of the government and the security agencies in this killing. They have nothing to say about the victims of these killings who have been persecuted for decades, many of who are rotting away in IDP camps. But when these victims have had enough and decide to take their complaint abroad, the emergency lovers of Nigeria, aka terrorist sympathizers, who have been silent all the decades, suddenly realize that being killed and speaking up means you are demarketing Nigeria. But actually doing the killing in the name of fictional religion is a sign of patriotism. This is why you see them advocate for amnesty for terrorists and advocate for silence for victims. That's what this person is saying. I don't know what you make of this. I'm just going to allow you to take a look at this video, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification. Now take a look.
The next thing that might happen is for the US government to put an economic sanction, economic embargo on Nigeria. If that happened, it will not discriminate between Muslims and Christians. We will all be poorer. We will all die of economic malfunction, and all of us will pay the price. If the US withdraws assistance from Nigeria because of these calls, it will not discriminate Muslim HIV carriers from Christian HIV carriers and kill only Muslims. It will affect both Muslims and Christians. It will affect Muslim IDPs and Christian IDPs. If the US decides with this that the Nigerian government is not doing well, so we will stop selling them arms, it is the terrorists and the criminal gangs that will have a field day, because our government even today complains of lack of weapons. And if Western governments stop selling them because of this advocacy, then we'll be even in a deeper trouble. And Boko Haram will kill all of us. Bandits will attack all of us. And so we should be careful what we wish for or what we ask for.
The United States has added Nigeria to a list of countries facing partial travel restrictions over security and documentation concerns. This now means traveling to the United States as immigrants on the B1, B2, F, M, and J visas is hereby suspended until further notice. Consular officers will also reduce the validity of other non-migrant immigrant visas issued to Nigerians to the extent permitted by law. These changes affect 15 mostly African countries. For Nigeria's part, the White House says radical terrorist groups such as Boko Haram and the Islamic State operate freely in certain parts of Nigeria, which creates substantial screening and vetting difficulties. For more on this, Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies, David Awurawo, joins us now live from the University of Lagos. Good morning, Professor Awurawo, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Nice to be here.
Well, very quickly, I mean, Nigeria has set up a working group with the United States, the NSA, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. They've been meeting at the diplomatic level following the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern on October 31. And now this comes along. Now, Nigeria is added to an existing list of about 12 countries that will face full or partial restrictions in terms of visas. Please, can you take us through this in terms of, one, the reputational damage for Nigeria, because this is a clear reputational damage for Nigeria to be categorized along with Yemen, Syria, Zambia, Equatorial Guinea. I think Zimbabwe is also on the list. You know. Anyway, that's on the lighter side. But, you know, reputational damage and the cost of it, and what can Nigeria do?
Okay, I begin with the first, that is reputational damage. It is huge. One is almost tempted to say that Nigeria's image has taken a toboggan slide, and its influence in world affairs has diminished tremendously in recent years. When one looks at this side by side, Nigeria's experience with Burkina Faso in the past week, one could almost say that Nigeria's diplomatic engagement is cataclysmic. Because, I mean, a country like Burkina Faso having such a clout, such temerity to detain a Nigerian airplane and then Nigerian military men, now added to this is Nigeria's, this partial ban. Yeah, so you are right. The reputational damage is huge, is extensive. We hope that we'll be able to clean up as quickly as possible so we return to where we used to be, among the strong countries with, extensive influence on the global stage. The second, cost. The cost is also extensive. If we look at it, it cuts across. There is no range, there is no category that is excluded. B1, B2, those going for business will now have a whole lot of problems. That would mean, reduction in what they're able to do in terms of business with the United States. B2, tourism is also affected. F1, our students who go to the US to acquire education and do so well, they will now have huge issues in getting visas. In fact, they can't even go for now until things improve. We have M, non-academic and then vocational is also affected. And the J1 exchange, all the visas, all the range of visas are affected. So in terms of cost, the cost will be huge as well, to be extensive. Which is why when I saw some tweets from some prominent Nigerians like Shehu Sani since the past 2 days that Nigerians should sit at home and solve their problems. I just say these guys are ignorant. It's not only those who want to run away, Japa, that this thing affects. It affects virtually all Nigerians who have something to do with the United States. So the cost is huge, and the government has to do something very quickly so that this partial restriction can be lifted as quickly as possible. In terms of what the government can and should do, a whole lot. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has a lot to do to get in touch with the State Department to present the facts. To be fair to Nigeria, the ban is actually, I would say, uncalled for, given the fact that the Nigerian authorities are already working with the American authorities to address this, hydra-headed problem of terrorism, ISWAP, Boko Haram, and the rest. And second, Nigeria has over 400,000, there are over 400,000 people of Nigerian descent in the United States, maybe up to 500,000. There is no record of any of them having them involved in anything linked to terrorism all of these years. The only one we had was Abdul Muttalab, who even doesn't live in the US, who also was even hardly Nigerian. He lived here for a few years, went to Togo, went to the UK and all. And that's 16 years ago, 2009. So when one looks at Nigeria's records, it is surprising that Nigeria has been added to the list. So Nigeria has to present all of these facts to the State Department, to the legislature. The Nigerian embassy in the US has to be very active. The ambassador has to be charismatic beyond just he's an old person. I would have wished a younger person, a new, younger, vibrant person were appointed. People were, criticizing me when I said, well, I don't know how much these old people, they keep circulating can achieve, but all well and good. So all these things are the things that the government should do. The government also needs to lobby. There's extensive lobbying achieves a lot so that the Nigerian side can be presented and very quickly this thing can be addressed. There is a glimmer of hope. I mean, Turkmenistan, one of the countries under partial ban before, in the earlier bans that were, that were imposed, had their bans lifted 2 days ago when this Nigeria was added to the list, because they had cooperated with the US, they had worked together, and they found that they had made progress. Yeah. So if Nigeria can follow that track, we are confident that in a short while, this partial ban can be lifted.
Thank you so much. Going to your last point around progress made by some of the countries who were removed, were earlier put on a sort of ban from the US or restriction, travel restriction from the USA. One other area they talked about was our overstay rate, and also the fact that they didn't have access to verify identities of some people or for nationals from these countries. Do we have a challenge with data verification in Nigeria, especially because the Ministry of Interior had introduced some new technology to ensure that we're able to really make that process more transparent and seamless? And then how do we also address overstay challenges that they say that is one of the reasons why this restriction was imposed, in addition, of course, to the security concerns?
Yes, we have a bit of problem with data. There's no doubt about that. We have forever been trying to link all our multiple identity levels together and all that. Now we have NIN, which makes it a lot easier. We have BVN, of course, that's another level entirely. We do have, but I don't think it is that bad. Usually, if the United States is not sure of one's records, they deny a whole lot. I'm not sure they give more than 10 out of 100. So anybody they are not sure of, the background and all that, they usually deny. So I'm not sure that should actually be a problem. Until they are sure, until when they now check data and are sure of the person's profile and everything before they give. So yes, we have a bit of a problem with that. We can strengthen that. We can work with the US and then be more open about that. For those who overstay is a problem. The government has little control over that. We can only talk to ourselves to be more responsible. But when you look at the percentage, for B1P they say 5%. For JM, maybe up to 10-11%. Well, it is a bit high, but it is not outrageous, really. But that you can only do by, enlightenment. That look, if you travel and you overstay, you create problems for yourself, and you also create problems for other Nigerians who will now be affected by your action. That is much, we can do. Once somebody is given visa and he travels, the government has no control over that person. So we can only, talk to ourselves to be responsible so that we can overcome that. But altogether, what we need to do is to work closely with the State Department, present our case. We have a strong case. We have not, because the main reason why this restriction has been imposed is, security concerns, terrorism, on the part of the U.S. And Nigerians are not known to have been involved in any of this. The large number of Nigerians we have there are not known to have been involved in any of this. So that gives us a very strong case. It's true, yes, verification and all that. Anybody that the U.S. is not sure of course, the person will be denied. Then the person can come back when the U.S. is sure. I'm sure if we are methodical about it, we should be able to get the U.S. to leave this thing as quickly as possible.
Okay, and I'm really even happy because you mentioned the case of Mutalab. The Mutalab case you talked about, his father had even reached out to the U.S. authorities before that incident happened, and they were already working. And in fact, it gave the U.S. authority a lot of leverage to be able to track the movement of Mutalab and averted the danger, that happened then. But I remember when they first gave us the limited duration of visa to 3 months, the Minister of Interior engaged with them. These were the same reasons they cited. They cited overstay and the likes. And the minister had started to engage with them. So what do you probably think happened along the line? Because this overstay conversation, it's not today that we have started engagement with them. I have it on good authority that the minister has started to engage with them when they first reduced the visa, visa time to about 3 months.
Yeah, I think what happened is loss of confidence. Those the finding missions that have been coming to Nigeria in the aftermath of the declaration of Nigeria as a country of particular concern on the 31st of October, a whole lot has been seen by these people, and so much is said. In fact, that lawmaker Moore, he has been, if you check his profile, his online profile, he's been talking and talking and talking. He's been revealing a whole lot. So there is this, I think there is this loss of confidence in Nigeria's capacity to, tackle this problem headlong, this problem of terrorism, insurgency, whatever they call it. I think it's not just the overstay that they have been working on, it's the totality of the perception of the United States, about Nigeria, which was the point that, Dr. Abatin made earlier about reputational damage. It is a matter of reputation. There's this loss of confidence. So it's a wide gamut of things together that led to this, to my mind. And which is why I said that what Nigeria needs to do is to work closely with the authorities to be as transparent as possible, to be as candid as possible. Like this attempt to deny no Christian genocide, it doesn't sell anywhere. The facts are all over the place. Just admit that it exists. We are working to overcome it. That is a better approach than to deny what is obvious. These are the things, I've suggested these things over and over again. Countries all have their problem. You just mentioned the fact that Abu Mutalab, the father went to the embassy, they missed it. People make mistakes. Even the US, as important as this matter ought to have been to them, but they missed it. Which of that the young man was able to travel. He got to Amsterdam. He was on the way to Michigan when this happened. So candor, openness, transparency, and willingness to work to get all of these things sorted out, to my mind, is the way out. And if we do this as quickly as possible, we should be able to overcome this challenge.
Just one quick question. You have outlined what the Nigerian government can do, but you left out something that is also an option: reciprocity, which is a hallmark in international diplomacy. Are you saying that will not be a good option for us? If they say they won't give us visa, why don't we say, okay, we too will restrict visas of U.S. citizens to Nigeria? You don't advise that we can consider that option?
Not at all. It will be the biggest mistake ever. When an elephant is fighting with a rabbit or a mouse, as the case may be, The mouse has to accept, or the rabbit has to accept certain things and just lick his wounds.
Who is the mouse? Who is the elephant? What do you mean, Professor Aruwarau? What do you mean?
I was going to say,
I put it to you, Prof. What do you mean?
As a patriotic Nigerian, I cannot sit here and we'll call rabbit and maybe we should clarify.
With due respect, take that back, Prof. Take it back.
Are we the elephant? Are they the rabbit?
Let me tell you, you see, the international relations is conducted on the basis of power. When you look at the indices of power to measure the US and Nigeria, Nigeria is practically powerless. So who is mouse, who is elephant is clear from that. Let me just give you, for context, let me just tell you this. The total GDP of Africa last year was about $2.5 trillion. California alone in the US is close to $3 trillion. So California's GDP is bigger than that of not Nigeria, the whole of Africa. So when I say elephant and rabbit, I'm even being generous to us.
It's enough, side. Prof. It's enough. Anyway, it's enough.
I'm just saying that reciprocity is not an option. Let us just follow it methodically, and I'm sure as quickly as possible,
the
restriction will be lifted.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. This is Judd Saul from Equipping the Persecuted. I'm the executive director. I'm also the founder of TruthNigeria.com. You know, I warned you. I warned everybody last week. When I was in Washington, D.C. on events both Tuesday and Wednesday, and also on my meetings on Thursday, I told everybody that I had intelligence that Fulani Islamic terrorists were gathering along the Nasarawa Plateau border, around the Nasarawa-Kaduna border, and around the Nasarawa-Benue border with the plans to attack Bokos in Plateau, Barkin-Ladi in Plateau, and Riom in Plateau, and Kafachan in Kaduna, and the Agatu region in Benue. And I said that they were gathering. We had intelligence that they were moving. They're gathering in places ready for attacks. Well, I gave everybody the warning. You guys saw me do this, and I came out with a video saying there is going to be attacks around Christmas, that they're planning on killing Christians on Christmas. I sent it to the United States government, people in the State Department. Several people had this information. The president of Nigeria himself, Tinubu, said that my intelligence was lies. Well, guess what, guys? Sadly, I've been proven right. 12 Christians were killed last night in Barkin-Ladi. They were executed. They were lined up and all shot through their heart. Several have been wounded that are still in the hospital. 3 are missing. That's just last night. Since I've issued my warning, this now brings a death toll of over 20 Christians in the last 6 days. 20 Christians dead. All within the regions that I've been warning about. Nigerian government, the blood is on your hands. You had advance warning. You knew this was going to happen. You knew where they're going to attack, and you did nothing. And sadly to say, we have intelligence that this is just the beginning. The momentum has started, and they plan on doing a lot more. Why? Because the Nigerian government is doing nothing to interfere, is doing nothing to intervene, is doing nothing to arrest and go after the Fulani terrorists that the Nigerian government is supporting and being complicit in helping their attacks. If you guys really care about the innocent people in your country, Nigeria, Tinubu regime, those that are in power, if you really care about the innocent and you're tired of seeing innocent people die at the hands of armed Fulani Muslim terrorists, Do something about it. You had enough resources to send to Benin. You sent jets, you sent people into Benin, but you cannot send soldiers to help innocent people on your own soil? What's going on, guys?
Let me quickly take you through this headline that has been gathering a lot of reactions. There's this northerner who has come out to say, oh, the Christian genocide was supposed not to have happened. That it was because Christians were busy pushing false narrative. That's why we have this Christian genocide going on in Nigeria. And, you know, that has been met with a whole lot of criticism. How dare you? Look at recently, 12 people were buried in Plateau State. And people were really not happy. You know, people weren't happy with the level of insecurity Nigerians are going through, and Tinubu is just after politics. 12 people were just killed needlessly by these Fulani terrorists. Now we have the Fulani leader, Bello Bodejo, coming out to say Fulanis are fighting for survival. You know, they are fighting for survival. That is why they are doing what they are doing. So he's just saying that, see, you don't need to be worried over what the Fulanis are doing. That what they are doing, they are just fighting for their own life. So this makes you to think that, honestly, some people are very, very complacent with what is happening in Nigeria. How can somebody come out to say that the recent visa ban by the United States is as a result of Christians talking about Christian genocide happening in Nigeria? That was what led to Trump coming out to make that visa ban. Can you imagine that? It will even shock you to know that this is coming from a well-known lawyer who is also a PhD holder. So that leaves a lot of questions on the table when it comes to who are we really fighting against? Because when you have educated men and women from the north coming out to tell you that, oh, that the Christian genocide is really not happening. Now, let me read it the way he said. He said, we want those pushing the false genocide claim that whatever action the U.S. took wouldn't spare any of us. They didn't listen. Then Trump travel restrictions said, hold my beer. Now, should we just keep quiet over decades of buying? This same man is said to have tweeted in 2020 condemning Christian killings. But today, under Tinubu's government, he wants Nigerians to be silent. So sometimes you just think of what is happening, how Tinubu's government is buying people's voices. These are people that are supposed to be in the forefront, speaking on behalf of the voiceless. But today they say don't push for the false narrative. Genocide is a false narrative so that you don't get banned, so that the U.S. don't come after it. So he's now saying that the visa that has been banned by the United States is a result of, you know, the genocide claim. Now, let me read what people are saying. I don't know. Let me still read what he said. We want those pushing the false genocide claim that whatever decision or step the U.S. took wouldn't spare any of us. They didn't listen. Then Trump's travel restrictions say who might be. Now, let's see how Nigerians are reacting. This person say, what is false about the narrative? That Christians are being killed, or that there's no deliberate religious cleansing going on? When Saudi Arabia and the UAE placed a visa restriction on Nigeria, was it a narrative to Arewa logic? And this other person say, and that's your boast, that there is a travel ban on everyone, that there is a travel ban on everyone is the reason we should lie about 2 decades of onslaught from radical Islamists who are supported by the government and some bad eggs like yourself. How stupid can this be? When you guys, when do you guys ever sit down to do analysis, not blindfolded by religious sentiment? Let the whole world ban Nigeria. There is Christian genocide, and we are not ashamed to say it. And this other person here said, this shame on you. Why can't your country make use of the arable land at your disposal to feed ourselves, pushing useless narrative that puts you into more slavery? Make use of what you have. Now, US, they feed you. And this other person here said, This was your story in 2020. What changed? Why the inconsistency with the truth? This same man tweeted in 2020 saying, gunmen stormed a wedding party at Kukundaji of Kaura local government in Kaduna on Sunday, killing 18 people, wounding 30. Systemic attacks on Christians in southern Kaduna have recently become frequent. Can you imagine? Gunmen went to a wedding and killed 30 and 18, killed 18 and 30 were injured. He went ahead to say, I suspected Ansaru, a splinter of Boko Haram loyal to Al-Qaeda, might be responsible. So you can see what Christians have gone through. In short, we don't need to start opening the book of remembrance, talking about what Christians have really gone through in this country, because there are a lot to uncover if we should start talking about what Christians have gone through in Nigeria. This person said Nigeria will be better tomorrow without the North. Your Islamic jihadist brothers are kidnapping, raping, and killing Christians every day, but you say it's false. The blood of the innocent children and women will haunt you to grave. And this other person says at least 12 are being buried in Bakelandi, Plateau State. This was just 3 days ago. Christian massacre in this genocide on Nigerian Christians. They are all your fellow citizens, and your concern is visa. I'm just wondering how this person is just thinking of visa instead of thinking about, the people that are being bite. And now this other person here tweeted and said, documented killings of Christians in northern Nigeria by Muslims without provocation. He listed so many incidences that have happened. I mean, he listed so many, about 15 of them, that has happened as a result of Christians. When there's any attack in the north, they just focus on Christians. I don't know how this unity is going to work. I mean, anytime there's any attack in the north, the focus is always on Christians. Why? Now, let's see this other headline here that says, U.S. Entry update for Nigerians. It is not a ban and no visas are being cancelled or revoked. However, entry into the U.S. is suspended for Nigerians on certain visa categories under a new U.S. government announcement, Travel Visa Expert, SASI. So somebody actually came out to kind of make people understand what U.S. wants and what U.S. does not want. And this person said, this is fake genocide. Why are you doing this? Why? It's not the first time the U.S. is issuing this, for goodness sake. I don't have any intention to go to the USA or any place outside Nigeria permanently. So what's my own? Let's build a nation. This person is saying, even if U.S. is banning, let's build a nation. Pushing this to Christian genocide makes no sense. That the U.S. banned Nigeria and you are saying blame Christians for talking about Christian genocide means you are not tired of the killings. This person said this person can't tell the so-called corrupt Tinubu and the Nigerian army arrest those Muslims sponsoring terrorism against the Christians. You are a terrorist. It's only the North will suffer if he placed embargo on Nigerian economy. Ndi Igbo will survive it 100%. Another person here said, this whole we want those pushing genocide agenda that the U.S. will not spare anyone narrative feels like pure gaslighting. The people who have died in this attack, in this horrific attack, likely never had any means to apply for visa, let alone travel to the United States. And that's what it is, You are talking about this, but the people who are the victims, they never told you they are going to the U.S. This person further wrote, those truly affected by Trump's so-called ban are the elites and those sympathizing with terrorists while calling for negotiation. I've never seen people crying this loudly over a ban. If banning Nigeria from every country would stop the killing of innocent lives, then so be it. This government is not focused on redeeming the image of the image it single-handedly destroyed. Instead, it is crying over travel ban. This person went ahead to write, let every country ban us. Nigerian life matters more than any destination you want to travel to. You want your children abroad while the poor masses are left at the mercy of terrorists. And here is the part that makes no sense. The same people crying over the ban are the same ones warning the Chief of Defense Staff not to wage war against terrorists, but to go into the bush and negotiate with them. Make it make sense. So guys, I don't know what you make of all this. These are reactions from Nigerians after a northerner was seen blaming Christian genocide for Trump denying Nigerians visa. You know, he's not blaming the terrorists that are making the country so unlivable for people. He's rather blaming Nigerians for crying out loud over the insecurity ravaging the country. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the video, to the channel, and turn on the bell notification. Thank you.